Get ready for the action because Islam Makhachev is setting his sights high. He has officially pointed to Carlos Prates as his preferred next opponent in the welterweight division, shifting the entire landscape of the fight scene. We dive into exactly why this move is making waves and what it means for the upcoming card.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This ALEN 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the massive clash brewing for the middleweight title at UFC 328. Sean Strickland is declaring his intent to absolutely drown Khamzat Chimaev, vowing to smash him and reclaim that belt in Newark, New Jersey. Find out all the details on Strickland's strategy and his confidence heading into this massive showdown. Now we turn our attention to the recent results and the shifting dynamics in the welterweight division. We examine Islam Makhachev's comments after his recent fight with Jack Della Maddalena as he breaks down how his game has evolved and what this means for his future matchups. Finally, we look at a major global move. Islam Makhachev sent a powerful voice message to Aleksandar Rakic, urging him to get ready for the UFC event coming to Serbia. We break down the significance of this plea and what it means for the future of the promotion in that region. Stay with us for more breaking news. Islam Makhachev has signaled a significant shift in his welterweight title aspirations, naming Carlos Prates as his preferred next opponent. Makhachev, who captured the welterweight title at UFC 322 in November 2025, has navigated a contentious contender landscape, particularly following accusations from Ian Machado Gary regarding a fabricated hand injury to avoid a potential bout. The dynamic in the division has been altered by Carlos Prates' recent performance. Prates secured a third-round TKO victory over former champion Jack Della Maddalena, marking his second consecutive finish as a former welterweight champion. This win propelled Prates up 3 spots in the rankings, positioning him at number 2 in the division. Acknowledging this shift, Makhachev commented on the swirling speculation. He stated, "The UFC hasn't informed me about it yet, but there's been a lot of rumors about me fighting Ian Gary next. I haven't talked with any officials about this fight, so I can't tell for sure who is the next contender. I've got 3 or 4 more possible matchups. Kamaru Usman is also up there. Ian Gary, Morales, Prates, and then Shavkat might be number 5. They're all expecting a title shot. But I think Prates has the hype now. He's talked about much more now." Previously, Ian Gary was widely considered the target for Makhachev's next defense, with the UFC 330 event being the assumed venue. However, with no contract signed and Makhachev's stated preference for Prates, coupled with the recent ranking movement, the path forward appears fluid, giving the UFC significant latitude in determining the next matchup. Noi Dung Kai Tight. Sean Strickland is aggressively positioning himself for a potential middleweight title resurgence at UFC 328, where he is scheduled to face Khamzat Chimaev in Newark, New Jersey. Entering the bout as a significant underdog, Strickland has expressed unwavering confidence in his ability to secure a major upset and reclaim his championship. /N speaking on UFC 328 Countdown, Strickland acknowledged the formidable wrestling pedigree of Chimaev, but asserted that his experience prepared him for the challenge. Strickland detailed a strategic plan to neutralize Chimaev's grappling threat. He anticipates Chimaev attempting traditional wrestling maneuvers, such as leg grabs and crucifixes, but believes he can successfully stall takedowns. /N Strickland believes the fight will devolve into a striking battle. He suggested that if wrestling ensues, he is prepared to counter-wrestle and take control. Alternatively, he predicted that Chimaev, recognizing his limitations in takedowns, might resort to striking, leading to a 5-round kickboxing contest. /N you are going to drown. 4th or 5th round TKO for me, Strickland declared, expressing his conviction that he will win by overwhelming Chimaev in the later rounds. /N Strickland enters the event with a record of 30 wins and 7 losses, most recently securing a TKO victory over Anthony Hernandez. The matchup pits Strickland's striking and grappling defense against Chimaev's renowned wrestling prowess in a high-stakes battle for the middleweight crown. Islam Makhachev openly questioned Jack Della Maddalena following the Australian's consecutive defeats, highlighting a significant shift in Maddalena's performance. Della Maddalena has suffered 2 losses in quick succession, with his most recent defeat coming against Carlos Prates, who dominated the contest and secured a finish. Prates' performance was highly impressive, leading to speculation about his standing in the division and potential title aspirations. Makhachev's dominant victory over Della Maddalena was primarily dictated by his superior wrestling skills. However, even when facing a different striker in Prates, the former champion struggled, resulting in a second straight loss. Makhachev acknowledged Della Maddalena's previous capabilities but suggested he was not in his usual form. Speaking to Red Corner MMA, Makhachev stated, "Of course I was watching it live. Apparently Maddalena could not collect himself. Maybe he hasn't fully recovered from the last defeat. He couldn't find his range. I have studied his fights a lot before we fought. He gets close, changes levels and throws, but this time around he just got close and took shots." Prates did an excellent job. Bilal Mohammed had previously predicted Prates would win, basing his confidence on takeaways from Della Maddalena's loss to Makhachev. While Della Maddalena is typically effective with short-range boxing exchanges, Prates neutralized this threat by utilizing effective leg kicks from a distance and landing several heavy knees when Della Maddalena closed the gap. Furthermore, Prates landed significantly more impactful strikes, 104-41, compared to Della Maddalena's 41 strikes during their bout. The incident underscores a notable change in the competitive landscape for Jack Della Maddalena. UFC welterweight champion Islam Makhachev has issued a direct challenge to a light heavyweight contender, urging him to prepare for an upcoming event in Serbia. The plea comes as the UFC reportedly plans to host its first event in the country later in 2026, signaling an expansion into new international markets. Islam Makhachev, who has a history of training in Serbia, sent a voice message to light heavyweight contender Aleksandar Rakic after learning about the planned UFC Serbia event. In the message, Makhachev told Rakic, "Hey bro, I heard the news. UFC will come to Serbia. You have to fight here and you are a big example for the new generation here. That's why, man, you have to be ready and beat." Makhachev emphasized that Rakic should be prepared to compete in Serbia, positioning him as a role model for the emerging combat sports talent in the region. Rakic, who has not fought since a TKO loss to Azamat Murzakanov at UFC 321 last year, is looking for a catalyst to regain momentum after a recent string of losses. He has lost 4 fights consecutively since a decision win against Thiago Santos at UFC 259. The message from the reigning champion is seen as a significant motivational push for Rakic to refocus his career in the light heavyweight division. While Makhachev is preparing for his return to the octagon later this year for his first welterweight title defense, this interaction highlights the promotion's growing international footprint and the intense competitive environment in combat sports hubs like Serbia.